Hawkins here with Chickenhawkfarmstead. Yeah, I'm wearing the same shirt as the last couple of videos because I'm batching my videos. I got time to do some work, and we're gonna get some videos out of it. Today, I'm gonna show you how I make my quail cages. This is obviously in the title, but we start with some 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch wire. And remember, these are quail cages. They're gonna end up being 2 foot by 2 foot, and I'm gonna go 11 inches tall. Is my current plan. I'm gonna measure my other ones, see exactly how I like, because I might modify it a little bit. And that's the cool thing, you can modify this you know, when it comes to height and a couple other things as much as you want. But basically, I'm going to take a strip, run it out, and bend it, and I'm going to take another one and bend it. So it's going to be a 2 foot by 2 foot. We got 24-inch hardware cloth here, cage building material, whatever you want to call this stuff. And right here on my workbench, got a little piece of wood. It's a little over 24 inches long. I have 2 of these trusty clamps from Harbor Freight. So we're going to unroll this, roll it out, put that clamp down, bend that wire over, give it some taps with a little hammer here. I'm going to see if I can find my rubber mallet. If I can, I can't. You know, this will work. Bend that over, and it's going to put a crimp in the wire. We're going to make sure that we got it lined up right, everything's straight and stuff. Put that crimp in the wire and bend it, and then we're going to roll it down, do it again. So basically it's going to cause, you know, like this, and then I can take the other 2 by 2 that I do the same to and put it on there, and that's going to be a lot less cutting. The previous cages, I haven't made a lot of cages. This is just, you know, I don't know why anybody hasn't shown this simple way. A 2 foot by 2 foot cage is more than big enough for, you know, your 5 females and 1 male, or however you want to do it. And these are gonna, you know, the last ones I did, I cut every single wall out. Cutting this stuff sucks, especially this size. Yeah, you know, because there's so many little clip, 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 clip. You can do the 1 inch by 1 inch for the sides and the top and all that stuff, and just use this 1/2 inch on the bottom. That's cool. I can't find the stuff hardly anywhere. I found some of this. I bought a few rolls of it, and I just want to keep it simple. You know, even if I was going to do 2 different sizes, the 1/2 inch or the 1 inch by 1 inch and the 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch, you know, I would still do 2 sides with this, because this method is just going to make it a lot easier, I believe. And if your cage is a little off square, it ain't going to matter. The birds aren't going to come and be like, hey, you're a crappy workmanship. You know, these are going to be hanging cages. The 1 inch by 1 inch is a thicker wire, but these birds are so light, it's not going to matter. And yeah, so my plan is to cut it out, you know, make it all out of this. If you need to put a water or a feeder through this, you just got to clip a few more wires. It ain't gonna be a big deal. So I'm gonna make this. We'll go through it. We'll see how terrible it is. I'll go in there and I'll show you what I already got made. We'll compare it to this, and I know how long in a struggle those were, and how many times I cut my hands and everything, and know how quick hopefully this is gonna be. So let's get to it and see how long it actually takes. Alright, so yeah, we got our clippers. That view is going to be terrible, isn't it? Hold on a second. Let me swing you around here. I'm trying not to get you so backlit so you can actually see what's going on here. And touchdown. Alright, hopefully you can still see pretty good. So guys, these little clippers are, you know, a lot of good for this wire. I'm actually interested in trying this thing out, especially if I do a bunch of these. Just zip through it. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but we might give it a shot. And like I said, I got my hammer. I got my dead blow hammer. I'm thinking maybe the plastic will be a little easier since I can't find the other one. Really should be wearing safety glasses when messing with this kind of stuff, because this wire, I mean, poke you in the eyeball, that's going to be bad news. So, and gloves are a pretty good idea, because I can't tell you how many times I got stabbed and poked and cut and scraped and scratched on this stuff. But there we go. Now we're good. Turn the light on in the middle of the day. Then we don't need the, or we can use our sunglasses, right? Alright, so if you're wondering where I'm at, my building's right here. This is a lean-to I put over it, corrugated pipe. And I left the top 2 foot open actually. That way to let a lot of light in here. And I got a 2 foot overhang. Well, I guess it's about 1.5 feet. But I got about 1.5 feet overhang, 2 foot overhang on top of that. So keeps the rain out of here pretty good. Oh! Saw that, didn't we? That was my soda. Dang it. I guess that was somebody stepping in and telling me I didn't need it. Let's cut that wire off. Alright, throw this away. Some people might want to keep this because it is, I mean, it's good little wire for stuff, so. Nothing like knocking your. I just opened that thing too. Alright, I don't plan on talking to this whole thing because I don't know how long it's going to take. But we'll be fast forwarding through some of this, I assure you. Assure you, yeah. Most definitely will. Now, the easiest way to measure on this stuff, like I said, I'm going to do 2 foot by 2 foot, is the count. That's one thing also that sucks about using the 1/2 inch. Because instead of just counting, 24, counting 48 of these. A little bit of gaps, but that is what it is again. It'd be nice if this was on some kind of tension roll or something, but we take what we got and deal with it. So, grab this guy, move it over, put my block of wood on top, and we're going to start counting. There's our first bend. And we're in, this stuff's moldable, so we can be able to shape it as we go, kind of thing. But take those off, and we just want to do it again. Told you, this stuff, it gets you. Yeah. I think this would make you go predator proof these cages, but for some reason they ain't. Come out another 2 foot. The bigger the work area, the easier this will be. See, I got some stuff hanging up over here. Get out of here. That looks about right. And I mean, honestly, like I said, if you weren't too worried about it too much, you can do it however you want. One, as far as, yeah, if you really want to count or not, I do kind of want to make it as close as possible. Sorry about that. I had to say some cuss words. That thing hurt. And I realized I was about to screw up. So it took me a second to take a thought. The side walls are going to be 11, right? So let me go measure, make sure that's what I got on my other ones, and I'm happy with it. Alright, I had to pause there real quick. I was about to screw up there. I pulled that out way too far because, and I did that wrong. The first bend should be the length of the sidewall. The second bend is the length of the floor. The third bend is the length of the other sidewall. Well, sidewalls, I'm looking at doing 11 inches. 10 I'm happy with. 11 is just going to give it a little bit more room, play around in there. Because I do want to make my doors 8 inches. And that's because this is my backup water. If something happens to my big watering system or I got to work on it and I need to get them water or apart, something like that. These are 8 inches. and it's a, you know, just under. So that way I can just take this, fill it up, stick it through the door, because if not, you got to lean it, and you can see all that water falls out. So that's why I like having a door that size. So yeah, I screwed it up from the get-go. Should have done 11. So I'm going to see if I can take this bend out, and we'll be right back and do 11 inches, which is 22 counts, then the 24 inches, then the 11. Sorry about that. I'll try to edit that before, because I know somebody's probably going to comment before they even get to this part. But let me fix my mistakes. Be right back. Alright, we're back. I was able to get that other bend out pretty easy. You can see now we got 11 inches. We're going to pull it. We're going to do 24 on our next bend, and then we'll cut it at 11. I think I got it right this time. So pull the bad boy out. Also, when you're getting this stuff, because we're making 2-foot cages, you know, 2 foot, that's where the width comes from. So the top and the bottom will both be 2 foot by 2 foot. You need to make sure you get the 24 inch, because you can get the same stuff in 36 inch, so don't make that mistake. And the vinyl coated stuff, everybody said if you don't get the vinyl coated stuff or whatever, they're gonna get the whatever wrong with their feet. I've had them in there for I think about a year now. Haven't had any issues with their feet. So, and I would prefer that, because I've heard it's gentler and easier on the animals, but I can't find the stuff. So that's always going to be an issue, right? And if I can't find the stuff, what's the cost difference? I'm going to have to look at that too. The number of cages. If you're not making 50 cages, it may not matter what the cost difference is. It's just we'll just have to look into it, right? So I'm going to do my counting. I'm going to like to go ahead and cut it with the little snips here. And I'm not taking anybody as an idiot, but you know, you get your little snips. So we want to cut with this side closest to the bottom, because we want to get as much of that wire off and as close as possible. Then we're going to have to turn around and cut it again on the other side. It sucks. But here's a trick I'm thinking about trying to keep the outside of the cage a little safer for me. If I cut in the middle and bend that little bar down on both sides back onto its self, basically, there shouldn't be anything sticking out to stab or slice me. So I'm gonna try that with this cage, and we'll see how it goes, because I'm tired of getting nicked up and stuff. I usually take duct tape and put all that, but you'll see that later on. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show you what I'm talking about here. See how I'm cutting in the middle there? I kind of screwed it up on the first one. So what I'm doing, I'm actually going against my nature. Because when I take my pliers, I want I want to cut as close to here. But if you snip that, you're still gonna be left with a little bit of a barb. So if you cut right in the middle here, which is what I'm doing, and I'll leave 1 or 2 here going down the line, so that way it's not dangling down and it makes me have an easier cut. But what I can go now do is, once I get it cut, I can bend all these little barbs back down and point them down towards this, so it'll actually be almost like rolled over right there, which is going to give me less of a scratch hazard on the top, and that's going to be right in the corner of the cage. It's I don't see it having any ill effect on your birds or anything. So just wanted to let you know exactly what I was trying for there. And it seems a little bit of nature, but yeah, cut down right down the center, and then that top one too, I can curl it back and get the same effect on both ends. That way the edge of the wire at the cut point isn't going to be sharp and have all these little things, kind of like the edge down here. So I still got this kind of left over. so that it's sharp. But if there was a little if that little piece was curled over, going back this way, if you ran your finger this way, you're going to cut you. But this is where you're going to be touching most likely on the cage. You know, especially being in the corner, you're not going to be able to get your finger up there. So, all right, there's that. Let me get back to it. Alright, there should be the first half of our cage. Basically, we got the bottom and two sides. Pretty simple. If it shows up pretty good. Then we'll put the other one there, and then we're going to clamp this together with our, these are called J hooks. So, yeah, but that's all you got to do. Make two of those, clamp them together, and then we get to the door. Door's a little tricky too, but we'll go over that here in a minute. So I'm going to make the second one. I ain't going to waste the video on it. Hopefully all that'll be sped up pretty quick, and then we'll start putting these things together. I'll show that real quick and get to making the door, and hopefully have a cage done here in the next few minutes. For you, it's going to be a lot quicker. This next step, it's another tedious step, kind of like curling all these around, so I'm not going to film it. But you got your thing, you know, you got it going this way, going the other way. Probably got that concept by now. I've seen people use, what are they called, hog clamps, or hog rings, the little rings with the little tool where you, and that, because they do like kind of progressively feed up, so you just snip, 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 is a lot quicker, but your cage isn't going to be as, I guess, tight. At least that's in my opinion. I've used them in the past for like putting chicken wire onto another wire fence or something like that. These little J hooks, I'm gonna leave a link, there it is, in the description below, and you get these little pliers, and it's pretty simple. You put it in there like that, put that in between there, and when you squeeze it down, it takes that piece and it curls it around. And as opposed to that little hog ring, you can see you got a lot more surface area on this thing. It's a lot wider. And these work really good for hinges for the top as well. You know, you just don't put them quite as tight, so they can kind of move a little bit. So I really do like these. I got the hog ring ones too, but these are my go-to for building these cages now. You know, I've only used them a few times, or on a few cages that I built, but I really do like them. I think it was maybe like $20 for the pliers and a bunch of these. It might have been 10, I don't know. Definitely worth trying out. I think you'll like them, and you'll probably find a lot of other uses for these little guys here. So I'm gonna get this thing wired together, and then we'll be back. I kind of had a happy mistake when I was putting this together. When I doubled my 24 inches to 48, well, my count on my first one, or both of them, I screwed up and did 24 or 44 instead of 48. So I didn't do my doubling right, but it's become a happy mistake, because to correct that, I had to cut the links where they were pairing up. I had to cut 2 in, you know, to cut off the extra 2 or whatever. I just cut them on this point, and I folded it over. And now it's, you know, in this here, I'm gonna fold, hope this shows up on camera, I can actually fold this over, and we're gonna have like a doubled up. So this will fold over that way, this will fold up here, and all my sides, you can kind of see it here a little bit. So this is folded over, and then the inner wall comes up in there, so I can connect that there, and it's gonna make this cage a whole lot stronger than it would have been without that. So I don't know if you understand that completely or not. Like I said, this is supposed to have been, this was 24 here, but because when I did my down and over, I went, instead of going 24 inches, I did 22 inches, if that makes sense. But I was counting, you know, these are ½ inch, So I was supposed to double and do 48. For whatever reason, I did 44. Like I said, realized that when I wasn't lining up, and I was like, well, I'll snip it, you know, and take those extra 2 inches out and put it on each end. And by doing so, like I said, now I've kind of realized, like, holy crap, that's gonna do some really nice extra work. You can see here, this is actually folded over. That inner wall is in there. I'm gonna crimp those together, and I could even do another one here, but that's just gonna give this thing a whole lot more structural integrity, it looks like, than it would have before. So who knows? It looks like that might be how I continue to do them from now on, if I can redo that mistake over and over. But I'm gonna keep working on this. I just wanted to put that out there before I forgot, and that's why it's gonna look like it's got a lot of extras on the sides, because it does. And it's gonna, like I said, hopefully make it a lot stronger and better. All right, got this thing all clipped together and everything. The edges folded over where I needed them, and cut the hole out for the door. One thing I've learned on this from just after making my first one is you don't clip the size you want. You clip a little bit smaller, and then kind of like take out the corners here, and then you fold all this stuff all over the same. And what that does is that way, that when you reach in isn't going to cut you. And I actually a lot of times put tape on here, where you can get like, it's some kind of like something for like binders. Someone told me, like I use you know, like 1 or 2 layers of like duct tape. Just put it over there and cover it. And then the door, you're gonna actually have to get, you can't use the piece that you took out, because it's the exact size and it ain't gonna work, especially when you fold it over. You have to use another piece, and you're gonna make that one actually larger on the side. Alright, I don't know where that last one is. My 5-year-old decided to call me with the Alexa, and it cut my video off. So anyways, your door, you want it to hang over at least 1 inch on the side, and then 1 inch on the bottom. Not on the top. The top's going to be actually even, and you're just going to clip that with your little clips. These are the little clips. It focuses. And that way it's going to stay on the inside and swing, and you can put a little latch on it. But I haven't really had problems with my quail getting out or anything like that. Since these are going to be not in the garage, I probably will put a little piece of wire here to hold it closed, but it makes it where you can just push in, reach in, do what you got to do, come out. And the reason why this is not in the center, I learned my lesson on that as well. I want to do a hanging feeder over here. So if I put it in the center, I don't have enough room for the hanging feeder. I got another video. There'll be a link to all the quail stuff, or you can search my channel for the quail stuff. But it's the best feeder I found so far, where they don't spill. It's an actual like pigeon feeder. But I have one that has like 3 little gravity feeders in it. It's 3-in-1 or whatever. And yeah, so I'll have to cut little holes out here so they can stick their head through there and get in there, and it'll be butted up right to here. But you'll see that in the later video. Anyways, that's why I put this over here, so it gives you room to do that. Or if you're going to do external feeder or water on the front, things like that. So it's just best. And I actually made it a little bit smaller, but I made it taller than you would think, because like I said, this is my backup water, and I want to be able to just stick this right in there. So you can see I got plenty of space in there. Alright, so I'm going to got another little piece here of the same stuff. I'm going to cut this out, cut my door out, and we'll get that mounted on. Alright, the cage is all done. So we got the door cut out, everything bent over. You can see how we went over 2. So 1 inch, and then went down a little extra. And then these are actually, they're air vent covers for a truck I got off Amazon. And but they make it where it doesn't, you know, and it looks a little bit better than the tape. They were a pain in the ass to put on, but I got them on. And you can see here, got 2 of these for hinges. So you need to reach in, do what you gotta do, put your hand out. One thing to note, if you got a watch, it's gonna catch, and it's a pain in the butt. So that's another good reason for me personally that I put it on the right side, So I'm going to use my right hand. My watch is on the left. Because if not, I'll get very irritated with that. And then this is where I'm saying you can do something here to latch this on. And this is something I found very useful for my grow-out cages, because the doors weren't that good and stuff. But so basically that clips on, well, and then it clips on there. You know, it's not going to be the best in the world, but it's going to make it a lot harder to get that door open. And then when you need to use it, unclamp it, clamp it back. Too easy. And then just hang it. You just tie your ropes to each corner or carabiner or whatever it is, and hang it up. It's got, you know, enough structural support, and where it's been bent, you know, the sides are solid, front, back. And if it looks like it's sagging or needs more, add one. If you have any issues with the weight of the quail or your water or something, making the inside like sag down real bad and you don't like it, another thing is the wire that actually holds all this stuff together, this little stuff, run it in, put it through here, run it to the bottom, put it on again, you'll make it level, and twist it off, and it'll add extra support to the center. It is going to make it harder to reach around inside of there and stuff, but that way you can add, you know, a couple of those. And I've done that too. On my big one, I got one that's almost 4 foot wide, and yeah, I didn't have a divider or anything in the middle, so I added, I think, 1 or 2 of a piece of wire like that, and it held up. Worked great. But I'm not an expert cage builder. I've only done a couple of these, but I couldn't find a great video out there that really kind of broke down a lot of these things and gave some tips out, especially like something simple like folding those over, putting that stuff on, you know, something like this little clip here. So, all right, that's what I got. Hope it helps. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and have a good one.